Good morning, brothers and sisters.
Good morning.
How are we doing today?
Awesome.
We're doing good. Well, it's wonderful to see you, and I'd like to invite everybody from downstairs and in the cafe to please come join us so we can kick it off together. My name is Clara Smith, and I'll be your MC today. I want to most importantly start off our program today and wish all the mothers a really sincere and beautiful Happy Mother's Day. Yay. I think the church and the family, and even why I'm here today is because of my mom. So I want to thank you on behalf of what my mom invested in me, and thank you for all that you give each and every day. So beautiful. Please join me in prayer. Dear Heavenly Parent, as we're all gathered here today in this moment, we want to, of course, be so grateful for all the mothers in our lives, all the aunts and the grandmothers, and all the wonderful women who support each and every one of us. I personally miss my own mother today and think about all the sacrifices that she did to really put your love into practice. And I ask that each and every mother in this room knows how special and how grateful and how incredible they are based on the compassion and the empathy and the sincerity that they bring to their life each and every day. We couldn't exist without our mothers, and we are so grateful for everything that they give. And their sacrifices will never be forgotten, as they'll always be paid for in the character of the child. And I hope that each and every mother here remembers that. I ask that not only can you be with everybody here, but everybody not here in this room, that we can do our part this week to really reach out to them, reach out to the people that we miss, reach out to the people that we love, reach out for maybe the people that we're struggling with, because we want to come as we are today to you, Heavenly Parent. We want to come as we are to grow with you, to offer up all of our challenges and victories and loves and breakthroughs from this week so that we can have an even more deep and more connected week with you. I ask for all the children in the audience today to be able to give a special hug and a special thank you to their mom today and know that we wouldn't be here without them. So I ask that we can walk with you not only in this week but in this month as we have such a beautiful spring coming and summer coming, that we can all stay safe in all the adventures that we do. And ask that you can join us here in this moment. And I report this prayer not only in my name, but in everybody's name in this room today. Mitsu and Clara Smith, blessed central couple, amen and aju. It's so nice to be back with you all. Please take a seat. I do know that there's a lot of mothers out there who are selling flowers or maybe selling candies. So I want to, give them a special thank you because, they're not here today because they're providing for their families. So I wanted to make sure to honor them as well. So for all the mothers that you might know who are out there, make sure to give them a special thank you today. Additionally, I'd love to kind of open it up and ask everybody to meet and greet with the people around them. And if you could actually just share something that you love about your mom with the person sitting next to you, we can make this moment extra special. So for all the children out there, look to the person to your left or to your right and tell them your most favorite thing about your mom. All right, everybody, take a couple minutes and meet and greet your neighbor. Can everybody join me in a shh? Thank you. That was so lovely. Who learned something new about someone else's mom? A couple people? Yeah? Wow. Incredible. I think through that little exercise, you almost learn something more about your own mom, right? When you have to put it into words. Yeah, and I'll just put it out there. My favorite thing about my mom is how she gives more each and every day. Yeah, it's incredible. She's hopefully coming this summer, so maybe I'll introduce you to to her when she comes. Yeah. But on that note, I'd like to see if there's any new guests in the audience. We'd like to intentionally welcome you. And if you would like to stand up, we could pass the mic around and introduce yourself. But just want to give us a special time in case anybody wants to stand up or if you have any guests. But if not, that's okay too. We're so glad that you're here and worship with us. We have a special welcome committee in the back. Could you raise your hands? Yeah, they'd love to give you a special bag that they prepared for you, a welcome kit. And I hope that you can join us in fellowship downstairs afterwards during lunchtime as well. So thank you for coming, and thank you all for greeting the neighbors. I always feel like this is when church starts for me, right? When the love is really there and you can really feel it palpably. Great. All right, and as we shift gears, I'd like for everybody to kind of prepare your hearts and minds. We're going to We're going to have our offering song shortly, but I wanted to preview our upcoming message by Pastor Adonia. As we all know, it's Mother's Day, and Pastor Adonia is going to speak a little bit about that. She's also going to speak about the act of giving, right, and what we have to give back to the community, what we have to give back to calling, this incredible place a success, right? And so that's kind of what I'd like everybody to meditate on as we have our short offering video, and then Pastor Adonia will come up and share from her heart. So feel free to play that, and thank you everybody for being here.
I'm a perfectionist, and so that's hard with kids.
There's definitely days when I have my doubts about my abilities.
Struggle with my temper.
I struggle with how I react with situations. I wish I knew how to, just calm myself before speaking to them.
I wish I was better at taking time to sit down and just listen more to my child.
I wish I was more confident in being a mom.
I'm not the most patient person in the world.
Patience. Patience is far and away probably the biggest struggle.
I just want them to know just how much I love them.
My mom is totally awesome. She's fun to snuggle with. Pretty, funny. She does cook a lot of food for me. She's just unique. That's why I love her so much. We go on dates together. We go shopping. She loves me a lot. I have a lot of favorite things about my mom. We like to watch movies together and color and stuff.
We go to church together, we volunteer together.
She is like my heart, I guess you could say, because she's that close to me.
My favorite thing is to jump on a trampoline with my mom. That's my most favorite thing, to go up high. We get ice cream or something and you go to the nail salon and have fun. My mommy's my hero. She's pretty and beautiful.
She is my hero.
She just will care about me and just always love me forever. She's the best.
That's so awesome.
I always seem to focus mostly on the negative, and I guess I can walk out here and say that I'm doing something great and that my child is viewing me in totally different lenses as I view myself. So that's inspiring.
This is my calling. This is my job. This is what I love to do, and I will do it better and with love each and every day, because those kids count on me and they love me for what I'm doing.
Good morning, everyone. It's okay, you can wipe your tears. I think a lot of our moms today are selling flowers and in the Sunday schools, but I really want to recognize those of you who are here for being moms. I think this video shows the side of motherhood that doesn't always get talked about on Mother's Day, how it's not always easy and your job is never done. That's something I realized. Even though I have small children, I know many of you are parents of older children or even grandmothers, and I know that you feel that your job is never done, and we often feel that there was something I should have done better or many things I could do better. But I think it's important to recognize what we mean to our children. I think if we were to do that with each of your children, have a video, say, what do you love about your mom? I think we would all be blown away by their responses. And I think that heart of a mother is really special, and I think it comes from God. I think it's the parental heart of our heavenly parent who loves us with that depth of heart. And I think that even though we sometimes struggle as a parent, it gives us that connection to God's heart and God's love of always wanting to do better, always wanting to give his best to his children. So let's give one more round of applause for our moms. All right. So my topic today is, how can I share my faith? Oh, there we go. And what do I have to offer? So I want to go over, this is actually the next 2 points in our vision statement, which after service you're welcome to go back if you haven't already and see it printed nicely on the wall there. I'm just going to go through it quickly, and then I'm going to talk more in depth about it. So the next 2 points of our vision statement are, we are sharing with the people of the Denver area truth that has been hidden in the Bible until now. God's original purpose of creation, how humanity fell away from God, and our path to returning to God's ideal and dream. And we own a beautiful and modern building that serves as the hub for all of our many family and faith-based activities going on throughout the week. So, I don't know what you thought when you read those couple of sections. I think some of you may have one type of reaction, and some of you may have a different type of reaction. I know for myself, up until even very recently, if I were to, it doesn't even have the words witnessing in there, right? Or tribal messiahship, but if I see the words sharing my faith, or, you know, anything that has to do with that, I would get this kind of like mini seizure, like, ugh. Like a kind of a knee-jerk reaction to, and I don't want to, but there's just this like connotation around it, or fear that I have had around it. And so maybe some of you relate to that. Maybe some of you are just like so excited, like, yes, I can't wait to share what I have with my friends and my family, and I can't wait until I meet the next person so that I get to share with them. And maybe some of you are in between, but wherever you are is totally fine. But I do feel it's helpful to look a little bit more in depth of why is this part of our vision statement, and not just what am I supposed to do, like my responsibility to others, but why is it important for me to have the experience of sharing my faith and sharing with people? So I think, this typically is a topic that would actually be challenging for me to talk about, and to be honest, it still is. However, I do feel that actually in the recent months, I've had a couple of experiences that have really shifted my outlook on this and really opened up my heart to wanting to give God's love to people and share with people. I think I've shared with you, and maybe some of you remember me sharing after I came back from the yearly conference in Las Vegas. I went to Famicon, and it was like 4 or 5 days when I was together with many leaders from our movement, and we were listening to, lots of lectures on the lives of our two parents, Reverend and Mrs. Moon, and little by little throughout that weekend, I felt like I had a wall around my heart that I didn't really recognize was still there. And that was like the last barrier between me and God's heart. I think, after Reverend Moon passed away several years ago, it was a very chaotic time, and I had a lot of my own questions, my own doubts, and I felt like my faith became very small, and I felt like I was just trying to protect it and keep it safe, but in many ways, in doing that, I had built up walls and barriers around my heart. And thankfully, somehow Mike and I were still guided to become pastors here, and over the past 4 years, 3.5 years, I felt like one by one, the walls have been coming down, and I'm just so excited, to be here and that we get to be here together. But I did feel like there was still something left between me and God that I didn't want to really look at because I didn't want to deal with it. But through my time in Las Vegas, I was really able to let down that wall and recognize the incredible love that God has for me. And it was such a personal love, and I felt so much it was for me. But at the same time, if it's for me, isn't that love for everybody else too? Right? God's love isn't only for one person, it's for everyone. And I shed a lot of tears, and it wasn't tears of sadness, it was just tears of relief in some ways, tears of joy, tears of reconnection. And through that, what I really got was, if people experience this love as a reality in their life, if people really touch God's love, like, that's really all we have to give to people. We don't have to worry about everything else. Of course, there's education. Of course, there's a principle. Of course, there's growth that needs to happen. But what I really felt was, once I touched that love, I always want to come back to that. That's my heavenly parents' love. That's the infinite love. That's what I want. And I will always come back to that love. So for me, it's just like cleared the fog in my mind around this area of sharing my faith, talking about my faith with people, is that all there really is God's love. And that's what I want to share with people. So I am a lot more excited about this topic than I was a couple of months ago. I have a couple of quotes I want to share. This one is from Reverend Moon. Witness to people through your boundless giving. When you have done so, those who do not respond will still be summoned by heaven. They will have no excuse. Once goodness is sown, it will always be reaped. And this is from the exposition of the divine principle. Jesus tried to raise his disciples with the truth, but it was his love that saved them. And unless we love others to a degree greater than physical parents in the secular world love their children, people will not be attracted to our path. It is only through love that we can restore people who were lost because of love. So I feel like that this one actually is really important. That, unless we can share a love that's greater than what people have experienced, they're not going to be attracted. But if we can tap into that kind of a love, it's like almost automatic. People are drawn to that kind of a love. Father has often talked about in many of his speeches, like, be like a bumblebee, be like a honeybee that's attracted to the nectar of a flower. He said, once a bee is in the nectar of a flower, you could grab it and like pull it out and it wouldn't sting you. All it would want to do is to get back to the nectar, right? But then how do we give that love? I feel like it's almost like a blessing of God that in order to be able to share God's love with people, we have to experience that love. We can't really give what we haven't experienced, right? So I feel like what God is saying through this quote is like, I want you to be in my love. And then I want you to share it. But I feel like sometimes we separate, other people from myself, or people who are not part of our faith, and from people who are in our faith. But I feel like God is saying, this is for everybody. This is for you. This is for your heart. This is for your family. And this is for everyone in the world. Also, really quick, the quote about our building. And some of you may wonder why we have our building and our vision statement. But what I really feel is that we should be in action, right? I think in the Bible it says that, what does it say? I should read it instead of trying to remember it. I lost it. But basically, if our faith isn't happening in action, if it's not in reality, like in what's going on in front of me, then we can't really say much about our faith. Sometimes we talk about, I believe this. I believe in God. Or I believe in true love. But if we aren't practicing true love, we can't say much about what we believe. And we need to be praying, of course. We need to be reading and meditating. But faith without works is dead. That's what I was trying to get to. That's what it says in the Bible. Faith without works is dead. And so what's going on inside should translate to what's happening out there. And it doesn't have to happen at church. Actually, most of our life happens outside of our church, right? It happens in our schools. It happens in our families. It happens in the workplace. But we can also find great inspiration and energy when we work together with others of the same heart and mind. So while we have life going on out there, we also want our building to be a hub of activity where we come together to share with each other. We come together to share with our friends and our family. And we want it to be beautiful and modern because when we share our building with others, we're also sharing our faith, aren't we? I think that's something that sometimes we kind of make a disconnect, that we put so much emphasis on the spiritual and the truth and love that we don't recognize that many times people aren't really open to get all of that yet. And what they get when they come to the church is they see our building and they see our smiles on our faces and they see the love that we share with each other. So we do feel it is an important part of our vision statement. Oh, actually, I'm going to go back. So this part about sharing truth that has been hidden in the Bible until now, God's original purpose of creation, how humanity fell away from God, and our path to returning to God's ideal and dream. This is something that I feel that we really have a grasp on, that many faith traditions, they talk about these things, but it's like we've got a formula. It's like a scientific formula, and it's so crystal clear. What is God's ideal of creation? And we go into exactly, so what heart and motivation did God even start to create the entire universe with? Right? And there was actually a purpose and a process to each one of those leading up to when God created human beings. And why did God create human beings? Because he wanted to be present in a family, right? Like God incarnate in a family and experience love between the husband and wife and between the parents and the children and the siblings. And to have that multiply and create this beautiful world of God's ideal, right? I think that many faiths talk about a peaceful world or what a harmonious world would look like. But I think that we really got this down to where the motivation is and what that would look like in our real life. So we want to share that with people. The second point about how humanity fell away from God. This one I feel like is it's so crystal clear, it's hard for people to hear sometimes. I think that many faiths, in Christianity, they say, oh, well, Adam and Eve disobeyed God. And so that's what caused the fall. They just didn't want to listen to the instructions, and so then God punished them. But if we look deep into the divine principle, we see that there is, just as God had a motivation for creating the entire world, there's also motivations that led to the fall, starting with the archangel and Eve and Adam. And not only did that separate Adam's family from God, but it separated all of humanity from God. And not is not just something that Adam and Eve have, but now all of humanity have those same motivations, those same tendencies, those same difficulties in their life, and they keep playing out, right? That's why we see the world that we see today, the side that we don't like to look at so much. But these things keep playing out in our life, which leads us to our path to returning to God's ideal and dream. So just as there was a very clear process of how humanity fell away, the awesome thing is there's a very clear process of how we come back. And I think that that's also something that many faiths can't offer. They say, well, be a good person, or have faith, or do your rosary, or give money, serve people, and those are all good things. But there's a really clear, specific process of how we need to restore humanity back. So yesterday, my kids were having so much fun. I didn't want to disrupt them, but they made basically 2 huge piles in the basement of pillows and stuffed animals, and they took clothes out of the dirty laundry basket, and they were making these huge piles of things. They were diving into them, and they were like, "Mom, come find me!" And I'd have to go down, and they'd be at the bottom of the pile underneath everything. I'd finally find them. They'd be like gasping for air. But in the process, we've got this ball of cotton twine, and it had gotten thrown everywhere, and I actually am quite fond of my cotton twine. I find it really useful for lots of things, so I didn't want to just, I think most of the time I would just cut off the knot and then throw away the rest and save it, but so much of it was like no point to even keep what was left, so I was like, okay. I had a little bit of time, so I started to wind up the ball and untangle. There was just like gobs of the twine here, and then further down the line, another huge gob of tangled twine. And as I was untangling it, I thought, I think it's been years actually since I've taken the time to actually untangle these kind of knots. Usually I just cut it off and don't deal with it. But as I was doing it, I was thinking, it's so easy to make a knot. The kids don't even have to think. They just throw it, and then they kick it, and then all of a sudden it's an incredible mess, right? It's so easy to make a knot. But to untangle it takes so much more time, and it takes so much intention. I can't just pull on the ends and expect it to come undone, right? I have to find where the end is going, under here and over there, and I have to pull on this, and I have to loosen this, and then I can pull this through here. It was actually became a kind of meditative, reflective process for me as I was untangling this, and I thought, this is just like history. This is just like restoration, right? So quickly, without even really thinking about consequences, Adam and Eve could make such a mess, right? And human beings continuing without even thinking about what they're doing, trying to live the best life they can, continuing to tangle the knots, right? But to untangle it really takes intention. And it takes a process, and it takes going the reverse course of what happened, right? So I feel like this is something, I think it's amazing what we offer about God's ideal. I think it's also really clear what we can offer about how humanity fell away. But I feel some of the most value that we have is how we can come back. Because we know the process. We know the formula. It's not always easy to do, but it's there. We don't have to discover that anymore. So I feel like, of all the things we could have put in our vision of the special things that we offer and what the divine principle has, I feel like this is really the crux of it. So Oh, and this is a quote that kind of relates to that really quick. You say that you go out witnessing, but what is witnessing? It is showing the way. You are showing the way for the world to return to God. And I thought, this is a couple sentences, but it's actually very deep. Because I think my past concept was, witnessing is I need to go out and I need to convince people to change their belief systems to match my belief systems. And I don't feel comfortable doing that. But what is witnessing? It is showing the way. And that means that we are the ones who start going the course, who start unraveling. And we start seeing those benefits in our life, and we start showing that to other people. So I thought that was a really awesome quote. You know, I'm looking at your faces, and I'm wondering what some of you are thinking about all this. And I think for some of you, I know some of you are out there actively witnessing every day. And I know that some of you do it very naturally with the people that you come into contact with every day. And I know that some of you have a heart to want to share this, but you might have a feeling like, well, I didn't do a very good job in my family, so how can I share that with somebody else's family? Or, you know, I'm not feeling God's love right now, so how can I share God's love with other people? Maybe you've got something going on in your life that makes it hard for you to want to go out and share it with others. I just want to share one experience I had this past weekend. So if you didn't notice or you weren't here, I wasn't at church last Sunday. I was actually reviewing the Landmark Forum. And some of you have heard of it, some of you have done it. But basically, it's a transformational seminar where you become aware of things. They call it your blind spots, things that you didn't know that you had in your life that are affecting how you live your life. And that when you become aware of those blind spots, then automatically you make a shift. So just like if you're driving a car, right? And you're like, you look this way, you look in the mirror, you don't see a car, and you turn, and you hit a car, that was your blind spot, right? We do that a lot. We cause crashes, or sometimes we cause issues in our life because we are not aware of our blind spot. But, you know, if we look here and we look in our mirror and then we turn and we see a car, and we're not going to continue going that way, right? Of course, we're going to stay in our lane. So that's kind of the analogy of how the Landmark Forum works. And I just want to share one experience I had during it. You know, I had identified a couple of areas in my life where I felt like things weren't working so well. And I did also acknowledge that I have a wonderful life and I have many things to be grateful for. But there were a couple of things I just felt like, I don't know, like I can't seem to make progress in this area. It doesn't seem to be working for me. And so I had an opportunity. I raised my hand and I went up to the front. There's this kind of like a coach who guides the whole thing. And I was like, these things just aren't working for me. And I can't, I wrote this letter and I don't feel like I mean it. And it's just not working. And the day before, we had been asked to do some homework, which I had tried to do, and then we'd be given a bonus opportunity to call people in our life who are important to us and just share with them from our heart and share like a new possibility with them. And I hadn't done it. And my coach asked me, so did you do the bonus homework last night? And I was like, well, no, because I'm dealing with this stuff. Like, I don't feel like I want to go share something with other people when I feel like that I'm not getting what I want to get out of this. So, no, I didn't. And she was like, go do the bonus homework. And I was like, but what about this? And what about this? She's like, just go do the bonus homework. And I was like, I just kind of like stared at her. And she was like, will you let me coach you? And I was like, yes. She was like, okay, go do the bonus homework. So I was like, I got the break. I got my phone. I'm looking at my phone. I'm like, who am I going to call? I don't want to call people. I'm not getting what I want to get, so how can I share what other people could get, But I committed to do it, so I was like, okay, I'll do it. So I just started looking through my phone, and I found the name of a friend who I met at the community garden here. Her name is Tara, and I just looked at her name, and I started thinking about her, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love Tara so much. She did such an amazing job at bringing our community together around the garden, and she's really, I've done a lot of things with her, but I realized that she's actually initiated our friendship so much. She's the one who invited me to go swimming with her, and she's invited me to go rock climbing with her, next month, and I was like, wow, what an incredible person Tara is. So I was like, I'm going to call Tara. So I called Tara, and I was like, hey, I just wanted to let you know how much I love you, how much I really appreciate you. And then, we had a really great conversation. We made a plan for later in the week. And then I hung up, I was like, all right, who else am I going to call, And maybe a couple of you got a phone call from me, but I realized, I actually was, even though I've structured my whole life around people and loving people with my children and the community and everything I'm doing, I realized that although my whole life is about that, a lot of the times I'm not really loving people. A lot of the times I'm just focused on what I've got right in front of my face. And it's usually the negative thing that I've got right in front of my face. And that was a kind of sobering thing to realize, I don't actually love people as much as I say I do. But then once I saw that, I could kind of set it aside, and then I realized how much I do really love people. I started looking through my phone, and I ended up calling. I was supposed to call 3 people. I used the whole break, and I called 5 people, and I could have just kept going. I actually love these people so much. And what I got out of that was that I am capable of loving people even when I don't have all my stuff together. So I want you to look at that for yourself. I think a lot of times we say, once I work out this relationship, then I can love that person. Or, once I get my finances taken care of, then I can take somebody out to dinner. Or once I clean up my house, then I'll invite somebody over and take care of them. But God designed us with the capability of loving people. And so I encourage you to see what thing can you do. Not just in your head, because I actually wasn't loving people in my head at all right before I made that phone call. Even though I thought I loved people, I didn't feel like I loved anybody at that moment. But once I took an action to express love, then the love flowed freely. So I want to ask you to take a look and see, what can I do this week? What person can I love? Not just think about how I love them, but what can I do in reality to love somebody? And you know what else I found? After I did that, then I went back to my issues, and I was like, I could do this. And I could talk to this person like this, and it wouldn't be a struggle. And actually, this whole past week, I've been just kind of it's been sorting out and smoothing out. And I think it's really because I let go of what's going on in my head, and I reached out and loved people. So I think God designed us that way. I think God really designed us to find joy and happiness and success in our life through loving and serving others. So what that looks like for you, I don't know. Maybe it's witnessing on campus every day. Some of you do that. Maybe it's through reaching out to your coworkers. Maybe it's through loving your spouse. Maybe you need to recognize that actually I think I love my spouse, But have I done anything in reality in the last day or two to love my spouse? You know, take a look a little bit closer. And what I find is that actually this sharing with the people of Denver area, truth that has been hidden, becomes not such a daunting thing when we look at it that way. And it's actually, when I think of it as giving love to people who have been lacking in love, then I really have something to share. We really have something to share with people. Even if you're not feeling it for yourself in the moment. But God's love is there. It's for you, and it's for others. So in closing, I just felt through preparing the service that our faith is a faith that is incredibly practical. It's not so much about believing certain dogmas or philosophies as much as it is actually about living a life that makes a difference. And that it can make a difference for our own selves, but that in doing so we make a difference in our families, we make a difference in our community, we make a difference in our whole society, and we actually make a difference in history. Sometimes we feel like my overcoming a struggle wasn't that big of a deal, but maybe you undid a tangle that nobody's been able to untangle for millennia. So please see your value and realize that we have something to share with others. So thank you very much. Please join me in prayer. Our most beloved Heavenly Parent, good morning. We greet you this morning as brothers and sisters, as families, all joined together under your love, Heavenly Parent. I know that each person in this room would not be here if we didn't experience some taste of your love, if there wasn't something here that drew us to you. Heavenly Parent, there are so many things we could invest our time in this world. There are so many activities and so many faiths and so many things that are vying for our attention, but that each one of us is here today shows that we want you. We want you in our life. We want to experience the fullness of your love, Heavenly Parent. And sometimes we're not feeling it. Sometimes we're not feeling that, but I respect each person's commitment to be here and to reconnect to that. Heavenly Parent, we also know that this whole world is looking for your love and not even aware of the fullness of it. I think most people are looking for something without really knowing even what it is. So they fill this hole in their heart with relationships. They fill this hole in their heart with food. They fill this hole in their heart with drugs. They fill the hole in their heart with money. They fill it with exercise. They fill it with cars. But really, all we're looking for is you. And all you're really looking for is us, Heavenly Parent. I pray that this day and this week that we can take an action that opens up our hearts to you, Heavenly Parent. You want to claim us. You want to love us. But we won't experience it unless we open the door to you, Heavenly Parent. I really believe that you're just pouring down your love constantly on us, but we are not able to receive it unless we make a condition, unless we make an action, unless we do something right here, right now, in front of us, in reality, that substantiates your love and our commitment to you. So I pray that more than anything else that we can go away today with that heart, to do something different today, to not just live yesterday again. We don't want to live the past over and over again. We want to create a new future, and we want to invite you into that future. Thank you so much for your patience with us. Thank you so much for your incredible love for us. You have the heart of a father who has the vision and the commitment to raising up your children no matter what. And you also have the heart of a mother who embraces and who has the patience and who has the unconditional heart of forgiveness when we fall short. We thank you for your incredible love that sustains us, and we just want to offer this day to you, and I pray this in my name, Michael and Adonia Hendrick of the Blessed Central family. Amen and Aju. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Adonia. That was a super sincere prayer. And I'm really grateful that not only you can be a mother to your own children, but a whole mother to our greater community too. Don't we all feel her heart? Absolutely, right? She was so real with us and so vulnerable on stage. And I think it's giving me a lot of inspiration to think about all the people that I want to love. And the more love that we can give, the more inspiration that we can get, right? And the more space we can create in our hearts to let go of resentment and let go of baggage and to become more patient. So thank you for being that example for us, for being such a loving mother on Mother's Day, and for being yourself as well. So now we're going to have some background music. We're going to have a short reflection time for you to think about the message today and everything that you're feeling and thinking in your hearts and minds. We're also going to have our welcome team walk down the center of the aisle. If you'd like to give, there's also tithing envelopes in front of you to give your tithe as well. Thank you. So we have a couple of announcements, local announcements that I'd like to transition to. So if everybody could look up here, we have a couple of exciting things going on in our community that I'd love to tell you a little bit more about. As we know, it's graduation season, right? And we had two incredible gentlemen in our community who graduated recently, and I'm going to very much embarrass them and put a picture up there, and I hope that you can all give them a big round of applause. Woohoo! We got one right there. Our own Sam Ujiri, who's in our band. Sam is on the left there, right, with his mother and father. And then we have Daiichi Jameson as well, who they both graduated this year from the Colorado School of Mines. And that, as we know, that's a really difficult college. Not only did they graduate, but Sam graduated summa cum laude with a Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering. And to top that off, Daiichi graduated magna cum laude with a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. I mean, such incredible gentlemen we have, really growing up to fine young men. So I wanted to say sincere congratulations on that huge accomplishment. We can't wait for your next chapter and as you enter the workforce as well. Additionally, they're not our only ones. We had Amy Vogenthaler, who graduated this year from Arapahoe Community College with an associate's degree in arts and applied sciences. So let's give Amy a round of applause. I think whatever type of education you go after, the fact that you're investing in yourself is really commendable. So great job with that and keeping at it. And congrats to all other graduates out there as well. So as we know, we've been doing a new series to really define who we are as a church and a ministry. And I'd like for everybody to turn around. We have our new vision board back there. So we can turn around with this incredibly beautiful, clean vision board that our pastors put together. And if you're interested in finding out what is that and what is the backstory, we have a special session today called Who Are We? A Brief Introduction. And whether you're a new or long-term member, this is the opportunity to come attend a short presentation where our pastors will share who we are, what our vision is, what we stand for, and most importantly, what's the future of this community. So the presentation will be given by Pastor Mike, and it'll start at 12:15. So please come out and join us and learn a little bit more and even get recommitted to this community. Super exciting. This event is our 4th annual Spring Refresh. I'm just refreshed by the slide, right? Aren't you? But this is going to be held on Saturday, May 26th. January is clearly past, excuse me. It is in May 26th, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. So I'd like everybody to maybe take out your phones and save the date in your calendar. Feel free to take a moment and do that. Plan on coming with your family, your friends, along with anyone else who wants to learn certain work projects to improve our property here. And there's also going to be a lot of fun for the children. So bring your friends, bring your families, and also bring your hands in case you want to learn certain skills. So we have a special announcement here about the Couples Energize Retreat.
The Energize Couples Retreat took From November 3rd to the 5th, the Energize Couples Retreat took place in the Pocono Mountains of Pennsylvania, co-hosted by the Blessed Marriage Project and the Blessing and Family Ministry. Apart from a diverse series of presentations and activities, there were a number of breakout sessions with topics such as talking safely, the art of kissing, and marriage as a spiritual practice. As one participant commented, this is a great time to hit the refresh button on your marriage.
We really got to get our couples here. We really got to let them listen to this because it's real.
Seeing the happiness and love here in the staff couples, that's actually the example that I needed to see because they're putting into practice the tools that we've been studying.
This retreat has been everything that I expected and so much more. Actually, I feel so much hope, not just for our couple and for the benefit that our children will receive, but I feel so much hope for the younger blessed couples who are here and how this kind of great benefit is going to spread throughout all our blessed families.
You know, I had this idea that, you know, our marriage is fine. And actually, I really did believe that for a while, but, you know, as the junk started to pile up at the bottom of the river, there's like no stopping it. Slowly I saw that my marriage wasn't where it should be, and my family as well.
This is the most significant investment I've made into myself in the last 10 years, for sure.
I know when I leave this place, I'm going to be continued to be tested. But these are beautiful tools and examples that we saw here. So I just want to give it up for the incredible staff members today. Thank you.
All right, that is about our Energize retreat. And if you haven't heard yet, the next upcoming Energize retreat is going to be here in Colorado. It's going to be up at Snow Mountain Ranch in Granby. And we really want to encourage every couple here to put it in your calendar and find a way to go. Mike and I attended in November at this one that we were just reviewing. And I think Mike wasn't terribly excited about going. I was just excited to get away with him and just be somewhere else. But actually, both of us felt it was so valuable for our relationship. And we feel like we have a solid relationship. You know, we're not in trouble, but we got a lot of tools out of it and connection that we've actually continued to build on through the marriage course and just in our daily life. It's been really, really awesome. So a few details about it. It's from Friday evening, June 29th. Friday, June 29th, I think it starts in the evening. It's like 6 or 7. And then it goes all day Saturday and then through lunch on Sunday. So it's a pretty full weekend. And it's about a 2-hour drive from here. It's not too bad. And the full cost of what it would be per couple would be $900. But through the Blessed Family Ministry and headquarters, it's available to couples for $500. And there's also, you can apply, if you go to the online, what is the website, Mike? Yeah, you can just Google Blessed Marriage Project or Energize Retreat. You can apply for a 25% discount, and some people can also get a 50% discount. On top of that, our community is offering an additional 25% discount to 10 couples, first come, first serve basis. So if you add all those up, it's actually quite affordable for 2 people to go and spend an amazing weekend with all the food and lodging and experience covered for you. So we'll have more details still coming, but that's just out there for you. Am I missing anything? Yeah, we'll send out an email that has everything that you can look at, but we just wanted to get that out there for you so that you can have it in your mind. You can start thinking, well, how can I put away $50 here and there to get us up there? It's not just a weekend in the mountains, it's really an investment in your relationship and in your future. Just like Clara was saying, you know, when you invest into yourself, it's never a waste. So, yeah, I hope we can see you all there, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Pastor Adonia. Appreciate that. And I think of it similarly. Like you don't want to repair your car when it's broken down on the side of the road. Might as well invest a little bit into it while it's still driving and working, right? And just like Pastor Adonia was saying, Mitsu and I attended on the East Coast a couple of years back, and we thought we had a really solid relationship too. But it gives you the tools so that if anything does come up, you have that shared foundation to discuss whatever may come up. So I would highly recommend it personally. And I believe this is the first time it's ever happening. Not on the coast. So it's been on the East Coast, it's been on the West Coast multiple times, but never right in the middle. So let's do our role in making it a success. And if you can't go, make sure to share it with other couples that you do know. So as Pastor Adonia was saying, it's going to be in Granby, Colorado from June 29th to July 1st, and it's called the Energized Couples Retreat. We have a short video to play, right, about the upcoming DP education. Or are we going to pass over that? Okay, no problem. Yeah. So last week we had a video, but as we typically know, we have many exciting Divine Principle education series in IPEC as well. So if you're interested in those, please talk to the pastors. And to close out our announcements, I do just want to give a special, sincere thank you to the Tamayo family who will be cooking next week, and the Alves family that is cooking right now. So let's give them a round of applause just to thank them for their service. All right, so that comes to the close of our announcements. Thank you for your attention.